The air in the studio was heavy, the kind of silence that makes your chest tighten before anything even happens. Cameras rolled, lights blazed, and millions of viewers tuned in live, not realizing they were about to witness one of the most explosive betrayals in conservative media history. Candace Owens sat perfectly still, her phone clutched in her hand like it was loaded with dynamite. Her eyes didn't blink. Her lips curled into the faintest smile. And then she leaned toward the microphone and spoke the words that made the entire audience gasp. "I have the texts, and I'm not afraid to show them." For a split second, nobody moved. Even the moderator froze, wide-eyed, like he couldn't process what had just been said. And then the camera cut to Charlie Kirk. His face told the entire story, pale, nervous, twitching at the corners of his mouth. He knew what was coming. The audience did too. Gasps turned to whispers. Whispers turned to shouts. Social media lit up instantly. Hashtags like hashtag Candace vs Charlie and hashtag secret texts flooding Twitter within seconds. Clips of the moment went viral before Candace even scrolled. Charlie leaned forward, trying to keep his composure, his voice shaky but attempting to sound calm. "Candace, let's not do this here." But Candace wasn't listening. She raised her phone higher, letting the camera zoom in, and the words on the screen were visible for all to see. The first text was short, brutal, and enough to turn the room upside down. "She's a ticking time bomb. We can't control her." The gasp from the audience was so loud it drowned out the moderator's attempt to calm the room. Even people at home could feel the tension crackling through the screen. Charlie Kirk's carefully polished image, straight, controlled, untouchable, was cracking in real time. Candace's voice sliced through the chaos. "This is what he really thinks of me. This is what he says behind closed doors." Charlie fumbled. That's taken out of context." But Candace wasn't finished. Her fingers swiped again. The second text appeared. "Candace brings ratings, but she's a liability. Long-term, she's dangerous to the brand." This time, the audience didn't just gasp, they booed. Phones lit up across the studio, fans recording every second. Twitter timelines exploded with screen recordings. One fan tweeted, "Did Charlie Kirk just get exposed on live TV? This is insane." Another wrote, "I knew their friendship was fake. Candace just proved it." And still, Candace scrolled. The third text made the room go silent again. But this time, it was a stunned silence, the kind that comes before chaos. "Tucker's team agrees Candace is useful short-term, but she implode. We just need to ride her wave and then distance ourselves." The name drop was nuclear. Tucker Carlson's team. The audience erupted again, half in shock, half in fury. The moderator shouted for order, but nobody cared. Online, Tucker's name shot into the trending list alongside Candace and Charlie. Fans didn't know what to believe. Was this real? Was this doctored? Or had Charlie Kirk really been conspiring with others to sideline Candace? Candace looked directly into the camera, her expression deadly serious, dangerous to the brand. "Ride my wave. Distance yourself, Charlie. You should have chosen your words more carefully, because now the world gets to see the real you." Charlie's jaw tightened. He tried to laugh it off, but his eyes betrayed him, shaking, darting, panicked. He muttered, "This is ridiculous. These are private conversations." Taken out of, but he never finished the sentence, because Candace cut him off with the fourth text, and this one was the dagger. "The truth is, she's not in this for the movement. She's in this for herself. And when the time comes, we'll expose her before she can expose us." The studio exploded in chaos. People gasped, shouted, screamed. Phones were held higher, recording every angle. On Twitter, clips spread with captions like, "Charlie Kirk just got annihilated. Candace Owens pulled the receipts." But it wasn't just the texts that stunned the world. It was the way Candace stared into the camera, calm and unshaken, while Charlie squirmed, and then she delivered the line that made history. "Expose me before I expose you." Well, Charlie, tonight I'm exposing you. The hashtag #ExposeCharlie hit 1 million mentions in under an hour. TikTok edits began pouring in with dramatic music, zooming in on Charlie's panicked face as Candace read the texts. Fans started chanting in the live audience, "Read the rest, read the rest." And that's when the real fear set in, because everyone realized Candace Owens wasn't bluffing. She had more, and she wasn't afraid to use it. Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk weren't just colleagues. For years, they were marketed as the golden duo of conservative youth politics, standing side by side on stages across America, telling audiences they were united, unshakable, and unstoppable. At rallies, Candace's fiery soundbites paired perfectly with Charlie's calculated strategy. On podcasts, their chemistry seemed natural, like two friends who finished each other's sentences. On social media, they built an empire of influence, followers, and controversy, but behind the curtain, things were never as perfect as they looked. Insiders have whispered for years that their alliance was more of a power struggle, each one competing for the spotlight while pretending to lift the other. And the truth is, anyone paying close attention could see the cracks forming long before Candace ever held up her phone on live TV. J.R. Lee. Kirk liked to think of himself as the strategist, the brain, the architect, the calm hand guiding a movement of young conservatives. He wore the suits, rehearsed the speeches, and controlled the donor calls. He wanted to be taken seriously as the intellectual leader of a new generation. Candace Owens. She was the fire. She didn't need scripts. She didn't need donor talking points. She thrived on viral outrage, unscripted tirades, and lines so raw they turned into memes overnight. If Charlie was the chess player, Candace was the wildfire, and wildfire can't be controlled. And that terrified Charlie. One former Turning Point staffer described it bluntly in a leaked message to a reporter. Charlie respected Candace's reach, but he always feared she'd embarrass him. He'd roll his eyes after her speeches and complain she was making things harder for him behind the scenes. At first, they kept their tension quiet. Publicly, they smiled, hugged, and praised each other. But in private, insiders say the competition grew toxic. Each one wanted to be the face of the movement. Each one thought the other was holding them back by 2020. During the chaos of the election and COVID, the rivalry escalated. Candace made headlines for her controversial takes, dominating media coverage. Charlie, according to leaked chatter, allegedly told staff, "Candace sucks up all the oxygen. We need her, but she's a liability." That phrase, liability, would become a theme in the texts Candace revealed later. Meanwhile, Candace reportedly grew resentful. She confided to allies that Charlie treated her like a sidekick, not an equal. She felt like he leaned on her for relevance, but never gave her proper credit. One insider leaked that Candace told them over dinner, "Charlie thinks he's the brains, but I'm the reason people even show up." It only got worse in 2022 during the midterms. Candace wanted bold, aggressive messaging. Charlie wanted caution, strategy, discipline. Behind closed doors, their arguments allegedly turned personal. According to one leak, Charlie snapped at her in a private meeting, "You don't understand strategy. You're just a performer." That line stuck with her, and she never forgot it. By late 2023, the golden duo was crumbling. They stopped appearing together as often. Their podcasts no longer cross-promoted. Rumors spread across conservative Twitter that something had gone very wrong. Some fans blamed Candace for drifting too far into celebrity drama. Others accused Charlie of jealousy, of trying to silence the one voice in the room who could outshine him. But the truth was worse. Because Candace wasn't just upset about the tension. She had receipts. For months, whispers spread that she had screenshots, private texts from Charlie, messages where he insulted her, mocked her, plotted against her with others. Nobody thought she'd ever release them. It seemed too dangerous, too destructive. But Candace is not the type to sit quietly when she feels betrayed, and what nobody realized until that fateful night in the studio was that Candace had been waiting, watching, gathering. 1. Insider claimed she had hundreds of messages saved, not just the insults he sent about her, but texts about donors, strategy, even about other conservative stars. She was collecting them like bullets, the insider said. Everyone knew she'd fire them one day. Nobody expected it to be now. Nobody expected it to be now. Charlie, on the other hand, thought he was untouchable. He believed his control over donors and infrastructure would protect him. He believed Candace wouldn't risk her career to take him down. But he underestimated her rage. The night she held up her phone wasn't impulsive. It was calculated. And when she revealed those texts one by one, the ticking time bomb line, the liability insult, the conspiracy with Tucker's team, she was detonating years of resentment in one live broadcast. And Charlie's reaction? That was proof of guilt. The nervous laughter, the shaking hands, the failed attempts to interrupt. He wasn't prepared for her to actually pull the trigger, and fans saw it. They saw the panic in his eyes, the cracks in his armor. They saw the strategist crumble in the face of raw truth. The betrayal cut deep because for years, fans had believed in the partnership. They thought Candace and Charlie were the future, that they were brothers and sisters, arms in the same fight. But now they were learning it had all been a performance. Kade covering bitterness, jealousy, and betrayal. And where Candace wasn't bluffing when she said she had more. She left millions hanging with that ominous closing line. These are just the beginning. Fans couldn't stop asking. If these were just the beginning, what was still hidden on that phone? Because if Charlie Kirk was already this exposed, this humiliated, this destroyed, what would the next text reveal? And just as the audience began to process the betrayal, rumors started leaking, rumors that Candace wasn't the only one with receipts, that Charlie's team had been saving their own dirt, that a scorched earth war was about to begin. And the worst part? Neither side seemed ready to back down. The studio was chaos. The crowd wasn't just gasping anymore, they were shouting. The chants started softly, then grew louder, shaking the room like a stadium. Read the texts. Read the texts. Candace smirked, her thumb hovering over her phone screen. Charlie Kirk looked like he wanted to vanish into the floor. His hands twitched on the table, his forced grin faltered. He muttered something under his breath, caught by a hot mic. She wouldn't dare, but she dared. She scrolled again, lifted her phone high enough for the cameras to catch it, and read aloud the message that would haunt Charlie forever. Donors think Candace is an asset, but privately, we all know she's reckless. She's not serious. She's entertainment. The room exploded. People booed. A woman in the audience screamed, "How dare you!" Candace's eyes never left Charlie. Entertainment, she spat. Is that what I am to you, Charlie? A clown you parade in front of crowds while you laugh behind my back? Charlie shook his head, stammering. Candace, you're twisting this. These were exaggerated, but Candace wasn't done. She scrolled to the next. The long-term plan is to use Candace's influence until the donors lose patience with her. Then we pivot back to someone safer. The audience roared in shock. The word use echoed like a dagger. Twitter timelines imploded. One viral tweet read, "This is sick. He literally admitted to us, ing, her snake." Another posted side-by-side clips of them smiling on stage next to the text screenshot. Fake smiles. Fake friendship. Charlie's voice rose, desperate now. That's not. These texts are cherry-picked. Out of context? Candace raised an eyebrow. Oh, you want context? Let's give them context. She tapped again, scrolling further back in the thread. The screen filled with line after line of Charlie mocking her speeches. Her fans, even her family. One message stood out like poison. If she ever turns on us, we'll crush her. I've got dirt. She knows it. The crowd lost it. Screams, gasps, chaos. The moderator tried to restore order, but the chant returned. Louder, fiercer. Read them all. Read them all. Candace's voice cut through the noise. Dirt on me? Really, Charlie? You think I'm afraid of you? Tonight, the only dirt being exposed is yours. The internet went nuclear. Hashtags like #ExposeCharlie and #snake texts skyrocketed. TikTok edits popped up, instantly slowed clips of Candace reading the texts, spliced with dramatic music and captions like, "The receipts don't lie." And then, the first twist landed, because while Candace was destroying him on live TV, something even more dangerous was happening behind the scenes. Reporters covering the event started receiving anonymous emails. The subject line read, "She's telling the truth." Here's proof. Attached were file screenshots allegedly from inside Charlie's own staff chat groups. One read, "Candace thinks she's a partner. She's a product. A tool. That's all." Another, "Keep her close until she self-destructs." Then we cut ties. The email spread like wildfire. Within an hour, screenshots from Charlie's own alleged team were everywhere. Reddit threads, Twitter, Telegram groups. Fans were stunned. It wasn't just Charlie's words anymore, it was his entire organization mocking Candace, strategizing behind her back, treating her like disposable merchandise. One leaked message was even more damning. "If Candace goes rogue, we'll leak the recordings." Charlie's already prepping statements. Recordings. That word sent shivers across social media. Did Charlie really have recordings of Candace? What did they contain? Was this about to escalate into total annihilation? Candace saw the leaks too. And instead of denying them, she leaned in. Live on air, she looked at the camera, dead serious, and said, "They think they can threaten me with recordings. Cute, because guess what? I've got recordings too." The audience gasped so loudly, the moderator flinched. Twitter timelines went insane. One fan screamed into their live stream, "Oh my God, she has tapes too." The balance of power had shifted. Candace wasn't just exposing Charlie's text, she was threatening to nuke his entire empire. And Charlie knew it. His face was pale, his hands clenched, his voice cracking as he begged, "Candace, stop. You don't know what you're doing." She did. And the audience knew it too, because with every word, every scroll, every reveal, Candace Owens wasn't just humiliating Charlie Kirk, she was dismantling his credibility, tearing apart the carefully crafted image of the master strategist. The man who always looked in control was now cornered, panicked, and bleeding in front of millions. And the scariest part? Candace made it clear she hadn't even touched the worst of it. These texts, she said, holding her phone like a weapon, they're just the beginning. "If Charlie wants to play games, I'll show you all of them. Every last one." The audience erupted in cheers. The internet exploded in fire emojis, and Charlie Kirk sat frozen, staring at the table, realizing for the first time in his career, he might not survive this. But just as fans thought the night had reached its peak, the twist nobody expected arrived, because within hours of the broadcast, a brand new anonymous Twitter account appeared. Its first tweet contained a chilling screenshot, a message allegedly from Charlie Kirk himself, sent to a top conservative ally. The words read, "Candace is unpredictable. but we'll bury her before she buries us. And the time stamp. Only 3 weeks old. The account promised more leaks to come. The tweet ended with a single line. She's not the only one with receipts. The internet froze. Was this Charlie's camp striking back? Or was it another staffer betraying him? Nobody knew. But one thing was clear. The war had only just begun. The morning after the broadcast, the conservative world didn't wake up. Detonated. Clips of Candace reading the texts were everywhere. TikToks looped her words with dramatic sound effects. Twitter was ablaze with hashtags like #ExposeCharlie, #TeamCandace, and #SnakeEnergy. YouTube channels churned out hour-long breakdowns of every word, every facial twitch, every sigh from the debate. But then, as fans were still replaying the televised explosion, another leak hit. A 43-second audio file appeared on Reddit, uploaded by an anonymous account that claimed to be a former insider. The clip was grainy, but the voices were unmistakable: Charlie Kirk and an unnamed ally. And what they were laughing about? It made blood run cold. Candace? Charlie chuckled. She's a circus act. People clap, donors smile, but she's not one of us. When she burns out, she'll be forgotten, and we'll be the ones still standing. The laughter in the clip was sinister. Too casual, too confident, fans lost it. They weren't just angry, they felt betrayed. One posted a tearful TikTok. "I defended this man for years. I gave money to his organization. And he laughed at us. At me. Never again." Another tweeted, "Candace warned us. We didn't listen. Candace warned us. We didn't listen." Within hours, #CharlieLaughsAtYou was trending. Memes spread like wildfire, showing Charlie's face superimposed on clowns and snakes. Even apolitical accounts joined in, mocking the feud as the best reality show on TV. Charlie's team scrambled. They issued a statement claiming the clip was edited and fake. But the denial backfired. Fans pointed out the voice was unmistakably Charlie's. Audio experts on Twitter began analyzing waveforms, claiming the file was authentic and Candace. She seized the moment with surgical precision. She posted a short video to Instagram. Sitting in her car, holding her phone, she stared into the lens and said, "You've heard the laughs. You've heard the insults. And trust me, that wasn't the worst recording. Not even close." Her words were like gasoline on a wildfire. Fans begged her to drop more. Enemies warned her to stop. But everyone agreed the war had escalated. And then came the celebrity pylon. Tucker Carlson, whose name had been dropped in one of the texts, finally broke his silence. On his show, he smirked and said, "It's always fun when the masks come off, isn't it?" The audience roared with laughter, and Twitter immediately exploded with speculation. Was Tucker shading Charlie? Ben Shapiro tweeted a cryptic Bible verse about betrayal, which fans immediately interpreted as another shot at Charlie. Donald Trump Jr. tried again to defend Charlie, posting, "This infighting is pathetic. Focus on the real enemy, not each other." But his comments section turned against him thousands of snake emojis, thousands of demands to check your own texts. Even Kanye West jumped into the chaos with a tweet, "If the system eats itself, don't stop it. Let it." Nobody knew exactly what he meant, but it only made things more surreal. And while celebrities played coy, donors panicked. A leaked Turning Point USA email chain surfaced, showing frantic board members debating what to do. One donor allegedly wrote, "Candace controls the narrative. If Charlie has more skeletons, we cannot stand by him." Another warned, "If she drops the full recordings, this movement is finished." The conservative empire that once projected strength now looked fractured, bleeding, and terrified. But then came the reveal that turned a feud into a conspiracy. Journalists digging into the leaks discovered something chilling. The background voice in the 43-second audio wasn't random. Audio analysts claimed it belonged to a well-known conservative figure, someone even bigger than Charlie. Speculation ran rampant. Was it a top Fox News host? A high-profile influencer? A political candidate? Threads analyzing the clip racked up millions of views. Some claimed they heard Ben Shapiro's cadence. Others swore it was a major donor. Nobody could agree, but everyone felt the same icy fear. If more recordings dropped, the scandal could swallow the entire movement. And Candace, of course, hinted exactly that on Twitter. She wrote, "Charlie wasn't laughing alone." Think about that. The internet exploded. Fans began tagging every conservative leader they could think of, demanding answers. Some influencers went live just to defend themselves, even though they hadn't been named. The paranoia was spreading faster than the leaks. Meanwhile, a second anonymous account posted another receipt, a screenshot of a group chat allegedly involving Charlie's staff. One message read, "If Candace doesn't shut up, we leak the donor files." Donor files. The phrase alone was enough to terrify everyone. What did they mean? Were there hidden deals, backroom arrangements, or shady financial ties at risk of being exposed? Candace replied within an hour, posting, "Go ahead. Try it. Because if you leak, I leak louder." The fans went wild. Her supporters praised her courage. Her haters called her reckless. But nobody could deny if she had Charlie cornered, and he knew it. Charlie finally attempted to fight back. He did a live podcast the next night, sweating under the studio lights, his tone defensive. "These are out of context clips," he said. "This is all designed to smear me, to destroy the movement. Don't fall for it." But the live chat destroyed him. Thousands of users spammed snake emojis. Thousands more wrote, "Play the full tapes then." His attempt to reclaim the narrative backfired spectacularly, and then came the cruelest blow. A new audio file leaked. This one was longer, almost 2 minutes. In it, Charlie's voice was clearer than ever. And this time, he wasn't just mocking Candace. He was mocking his own fans. "These kids worship us like gods," he sneered. "They'll follow whatever we say. It's not about ideas, it's about keeping control." And Candace doesn't get that. The outrage was volcanic. Fans weren't just stunned, they were enraged. TikTok filled with videos of young conservatives burning Charlie Kirk merch. One girl cried on live, "We trusted him. We gave him everything. And he laughed at us." Candace retweeted the clip with just 3 words. "He said it." By now, the story wasn't just trending, it was dominating global headlines. The New York Times wrote, "Texts and tapes threaten conservative youth empire." CNN called it, "The Civil War on the Right." Even late-night comedians mocked it, playing Charlie's laugh on repeat for laughs. But the darkest whispers were still to come. An alleged former staffer claimed Candace wasn't bluffing about having hours of recordings. Hours of private conversations, not just mocking Candace, but discussing donors, shady deals, and power plays involving multiple conservative stars. If those recordings surfaced, it wouldn't just be Charlie Kirk going down. It would be the entire conservative machine, and Candace Owens knew it. She posted one last message that night. Simple, chilling. "You've heard the laugh. You've heard the insults. But you haven't heard the worst of it yet." The cliffhanger was set. The war wasn't over. It was only escalating by day 4. The feud was no longer a feud, it was a full-blown civil war. The internet was split into 2 furious armies, #Team Candace and #Team Charlie. The battle wasn't just online. It was tearing through group chats, churches, student clubs, and donor networks. Fans weren't just debating, They were fighting for the soul of the movement. On TikTok, Candace supporters posted videos with dramatic text overlays. She brought the receipts. He laughed at you. End of story. These clips were backed by sad piano music, showing screenshots of Charlie's texts next to footage of Candace on stage, framed like she was a betrayed heroine. Meanwhile, Charlie's defenders fought back with their own edits. One viral clip painted Candace as a traitor for clout, overlaying her face with flames and captions like, "She's tearing down the movement from the inside." The comment sections were war zones. Every post, no matter the side, was flooded with snake emojis, clown emojis, and all-caps arguments like "Candace is our voice" versus "Charlie built this empire." But the fans weren't the only ones losing control. Behind the curtain, the industry itself was fracturing. Leaked donor emails revealed a panic unlike anything Turning Point USA had ever faced. One message allegedly read, "This is catastrophic. Candace controls the narrative, and Charlie looks guilty. We can't risk losing millions in contributions." Another donor wrote bluntly, "Cut Charlie loose or we cut our checks." The board was split. Some wanted to defend Charlie at all costs, fearing Candace would burn everything down. Others whispered about rebranding without him. The word resignation even appeared in one frantic thread. And then came the media firestorm. Fox News tried to stay neutral, running headlines like "Feud between Owens and Kirk heats up." But their coverage backfired. Their clips went viral, and the comments were filled with demands for Fox to pick a side. The Daily Wire quietly leaned toward Candace. One host on their podcast said, "Charlie's words speak for themselves. If this is the leadership, maybe it's time for change." Breitbart slammed Candace, calling her reckless and opportunistic. But their comments section turned against them. Thousands of replies read, "You're just protecting Charlie because you're scared she'll come for you next." Even CNN jumped in gleefully, running with the headline, "Conservative infighting exposes hypocrisy at the top." And in the middle of this chaos, the celebrities started choosing sides. Tucker Carlson, who had been playing coy, finally let slip a devastating jab during his show. Some people build movements. Others build themselves. And eventually, the truth comes out. Fans interpreted it as Tucker dropping Charlie entirely. Ben Shapiro, tired of speculation, made his stance clearer in a podcast rant. Any leader who openly mocks their own audience is unfit to lead. Period. The internet blew up was Ben cutting ties with Charlie. Donald Trump Jr., however, doubled down in Charlie's defense. In a fiery Instagram rant, he barked, "Candace is playing with fire. You don't destroy your allies for clout." This is betrayal, plain and simple. But the comments wrecked him snake emojis, clown faces, and calls for Candace 2024. Kanye West added chaos with another cryptic post. "Candace is Joan of Arc. Charlie is Judas." Nobody knew if he meant it literally. But the internet went insane. Even celebrities outside politics joined the circus. Rapper Meek Mill tweeted, "Lamau Charlie Kirk," laughing at his own fans. This is wild. Comedian Tim Dillon joked on his podcast, "It's like Real Housewives, but with donor money." The conservative movement wasn't just splintering. It was collapsing under the weight of its own drama. And then came the most shocking public reaction yet. A petition surfaced online, started by grassroots conservative students, demanding Charlie Kirk resign from Turning Point USA within 48 hours. It had racked up over 200,000 signatures. The comments were brutal. "He mocked us. He used us. He doesn't deserve us." Charlie's camp tried to counter with their own petition, "Stand with Charlie," but it barely cracked. 30,000 signatures. Worse, People hijacked it with fake names like Snake Energy and Candace Owens. And all the while, Candace kept fanning the flames. On her podcast, she said chillingly, "Charlie thinks this is about me versus him. He still doesn't get it. This isn't about me. This is about exposing what's been happening behind closed doors." Her fans erupted. Theories flooded Reddit and Twitter. What else was behind those closed doors? Was she hinting at corruption, donor scandals, secret alliances? The paranoia spread like a virus. Every conservative figure with ties to Charlie came under suspicion. Every podcast clip, every old tweet was dissected. Fans weren't just turning on Charlie, they were questioning the entire machine. Even mainstream late-night shows couldn't resist. Jimmy Kimmel joked, "Conservative influencers are eating each other alive." Candace Owens just dropped more receipts than CVS. The clip went viral outside politics, dragging the feud into pop culture, and then, just when it seemed like the outrage had peaked, another bomb dropped. A leaked memo allegedly from Turning Point's legal team hit the internet. It warned of potential criminal liability if certain donor communications were made public. Screenshots showed lawyers begging the board to contain Candace before she escalates further. That leak was different. It wasn't just embarrassing. It was dangerous. Fans asked, what did they mean by criminal liability? Was there money laundering? Illegal coordination? Something even darker? Candace, of course, pounced. She tweeted one word in response to the memo. Boom. The internet erupted all over again. It wasn't just a feud anymore. It wasn't just betrayal. It was turning into a scandal with stakes far higher than anyone expected. And Charlie Kirk, once untouchable, now looked like a man one leak away from total annihilation. By day 6, the scandal had grown so massive that even Candace and Charlie weren't fully in control anymore. What had started as a personal feud was now an open wound bleeding across the entire conservative ecosystem. And then it happened. The leak that changed everything. Late Sunday night, a brand new anonymous account dropped an audio file. Not 30 seconds, not 2 minutes. This one was nearly 7 full minutes long. At first, it sounded familiar. Charlie's voice again, mocking Candace, mocking fans. His arrogance was now undeniable. But then, 2 minutes in, another voice entered the conversation. And this time, there was no mistaking it. It wasn't just Charlie. It was a household conservative name. A figure millions of people trusted. The voice said, cold and deliberate, "Candace doesn't understand how this works. She thinks she's free. But when donors pull strings, we pull her down." The internet detonated. Theories flew everywhere. Some swore it was Ben Shapiro. Others swore it was a Fox News executive. Some said it was a sitting politician. Within hours, hashtags like #WhoIsInTheRoom and #DonorGate trended worldwide. People slowed the audio, dissected every syllable, trying to match the cadence to known voices. TikTok detectives built entire theories, comparing speech patterns, uploading side-by-side clips. Candace fanned the flames with one chilling tweet. "You're asking who the second voice is. Let's just say, you've all seen him on stage." The internet lost its mind. If true, this wasn't just about Charlie Kirk anymore. This was about a network. A conspiracy at the very top. Donors panicked harder than ever. One leaked email from a top funder allegedly read, "If the second voice is confirmed, the fallout will be catastrophic. Millions could be lost. Reputations destroyed." Meanwhile, Charlie Kirk's camp collapsed into chaos. His lawyer issued a frantic statement calling the audio AI-generated lies, but nobody bought it. Audio experts confirmed the file was real, and fans, they weren't debating anymore. They were revolting. Conservative student groups began announcing splits from Turning Point. USA influencers who once praised Charlie now went live, swearing loyalty to Candace. The balance of power had shifted completely. But Candace wasn't done. She went live that night, smiling calmly as hundreds of thousands tuned in. Holding her phone up to the camera, she said, "That's just one recording. One. Do you understand? I have dozens. And if they keep lying to you, I will release every single one. Donors, politicians, executives, all of them." The comments exploded. Fans screamed for her to drop everything. Enemies begged her to stop. But Candace left them with only one line before ending the stream. "If I go down, they all go down." And then she was gone. The internet spiraled. Was she bluffing? Did she really have hours of tapes implicating not just Charlie, but other conservative giants? And if she dropped them, how many careers, how many empires would burn? Nobody knew. But one thing was clear. The war had evolved. It wasn't just Candace versus Charlie anymore. It was Candace versus the machine. And the cliffhanger was brutal. Because according to multiple insiders whispering to reporters, Candace's next move wouldn't be another text or another short clip. It would be a full recording dump. Dozens of files. Hours of conversations. Names nobody ever expected to hear. And when that happens, it won't just end Charlie Kirk's career. It could bring down the entire conservative establishment. So now, the question isn't just about Charlie Kirk's texts. It's not just about Candace Owens' bravery. It's about something bigger, because if that 7-minute recording was real, if that second voice belonged to a conservative heavyweight we've all seen smiling on stage, then this feud has ripped open the doors to something the movement never wanted exposed. And Candace has promised us this: that what we've seen so far is nothing compared to what's still sitting in her phone. Dozens of recordings. Hours of conversations. Donors, executives, politicians, all caught in the crossfire. So here's what I want to know from you. Are you on Team Candace, believing she's finally shining a light on years of hypocrisy and manipulation? Or are you on Team Charlie, convinced that this is a smear campaign designed to tear him down and fracture the movement? Drop your opinion in the comments right now. And don't just type one sentence, make your case. Convince us. Because this debate isn't just gossip anymore. It's history unfolding in real time. And remember, Candace has left the door wide open. She didn't say if she released the rest. She said, when. Which means the next time we sit down here, everything you thought you knew about conservative media could collapse overnight. That's why you need to hit that like button if you think Candace should go nuclear. Smash subscribe if you don't want to miss the moment the full recordings drop. And turn on notifications, because when part 2 of this saga breaks, trust me, you'll want to be here first. This isn't just a feud anymore. This is a war. And the scariest part, the war has only just begun. So I'll leave you with this: when the next recording drops, will it confirm everything Candace has warned us about? Or will it expose something even darker than we ever imagined? Think about it and get ready. Think about it and get ready.